The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. Let's get this done.
You're natural. That means you're meat for the beast.
I love that scene. It's one of my favorites of all time. But I wanted to talk about nature. Now, even theists agree that it exists, though they seem to be rather fond of misrepresenting it and assigning supernatural causation to natural events, and using that as arguments for the existence of their God. I mean, you've heard them before, right? Look at the trees. If you find a watch on a beach... I mean, we've all heard these word games, and I'm not going to get into those directly here. Just mention that this is how nature and supernature get confused. We can recognize that which is natural. We can observe it and study it and, measure it, qualify it and quantify it. We can take parts of it and put it under a microscope to see the substructures of how everything goes. We can look out with our telescopes and see the superstructure of the cosmos and our place in it. It's amazing, and it's wonderful, and it's awe-inspiring. We act out our natures in nature, as a part of nature, and on nature. There's much about nature that we don't understand, though, because the more we look at it, the stranger and stranger it gets. At the beach, we can see things that we're familiar with. Just about every scoop of sand, we can find small little critters, little crablings and, mollusks. Go into the shallows and we'll see the fry, the schools of small little bitty fish, little baby fish. Get a little deeper and you start seeing bigger fish. And the deeper we go, the further out and the deeper we go, off the edge of the continental shelf, you start getting into the twilight zones of where light really doesn't penetrate that far. And things start getting real bizarre real quick. Like the coelacanth, thought to be extinct for millions of years. Nope, found one hanging out in Madagascar doing coelacanth things, just saying, "Hey, what's up? I'm this weird lobe-finned fish. How you doing?" And then there's this thing, and that, and whatever the blue hell this is. And down at the bottom, far from the surface, far from the shore, we may not even know what it is that we're looking at. Like that. Is that a critter? Is that a plant? Is that a mineral deposit? Like, what is that? I have no idea what I'm looking at here. I mean, maybe it's some kind of worm? A bacteria colony, maybe? I don't know. If you know, leave me a comment down below. Tell me what this thing is. But you know what? If you don't know, leave a comment down below and make something up. Like, I think I'm going with bacterial colony. And that thing, it's a colony of bacteria, and it extracts its nutrients from the detritus that winds up on the sea floor. And why it grows in this particular place is because of a mineral that is necessary for its continued survival at that pressures, and that's what gives it that distinct purple hue. That's what I'm going with. I'm completely full of shit because I have no idea what that thing is, but that's what I'm going with. So that's how weird nature can be. And you could look at it and recognize, yeah, that's probably natural, but I'm not sure if that's animal, mineral, or vegetable. I have no idea. But the supernatural, that's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah. It's a bit different. It's an interesting category. Supernatural things would be above nature, just by definition, right? Here's nature, here's supernature, here's natural, here's supernatural. So, if they're above nature, they're not necessarily beholden to the natural laws that govern everything else in our experience. You know, they can do any sorts of fantastic and amazing things. Literally anything. In the supernatural, it's possible that there are married bachelors, or triangles whose internal angles do not add up to 180 degrees, where 2 plus 2 is purple, and the square root of porkchop can be calculated to 14.5 decimal places, where 1 is not a prime number, where gods exist, where dragons breathe fire, where ghosts are real and can pass through doors. All of these are possible in the supernatural realm. And as many fantastic things as can be seen there, there's some horrific implications to that too. That weird sound that was in the bushes that when you go look, there was nothing there. The strange causes of unknown events. Imagination really is the limit to what can be done in the supernatural. And that's why it's the favorite tool of those using imagination to tell stories, the fiction writers and the storytellers of past, present, and future. I mean, and it's brought us a great many wonderful stories, fantastic things. One of my favorites, one of my favorite supernatural stories of all time is Alice in Wonderland and her adventures into Wonderland through the looking glass. I mean, think about it. What an array of supernatural events. There's plane travel, there's dematerialization, there's these bizarre creatures, there's, you know, hookah-smoking caterpillars and rabbits in waistcoats fretting about the time on their pocket watches. You know, there's the caucus race, the Jabberwock. It's awesome. It was so much fun. I love that story as a kid, and I always got teased on it because, you know, here I'm a guy liking Alice in Wonderland, but I really liked Alice in Wonderland. I thought it was cool as shit. I mean, I just did. I mean, I like ghost stories too. You know, give me a good ghost story, and I'm all on that. But I mean, you got to do it right, you know? Like, not that Ed and Lorraine Warren kind of shit. But the thing about the supernatural is we don't have any evidence of it. Not really. We just have stories. Anecdotes. Nothing concrete to support it. And the best we could ever get to with the evidence that we have is inconclusive, which just means we don't know. Or we don't know yet. So supernature would be nature that we just don't know anything about. Supernatural beings are beings that we don't know anything about. Supernatural forces would be forces we don't know anything about. You're starting to catch a pattern here. Weather phenomenon were supernatural. Geologic phenomenon were supernatural. Cosmic phenomenon such as eclipses and meteors were supernatural. Diseases were supernatural. They became natural as we understood them, and the mechanism behind how they work. The biological processes, these were supernatural. I mean, they were ascribed to blights and curses and demons and bad air and all sorts of, you know, strange and cosmic things. Literally cosmic. You had some bad stars. The stars weren't aligned right. All right, well, that's another H.P. Lovecraft reference, but, I can't help it. Well, it turns out it wasn't that, was it? It was bacteria and viruses, prions, toxidromes. We understand biology and pharmacology, pharmacokinetics, that if we give this drug in this amount to this person, we understand how that will be metabolized and how during metabolization it will act upon each cell and what kind of effect it can have, and it just demystifies the whole thing. And nowhere in that process ever once was a demon or a curse or a blight or the influence of a bad star ever found. The moon was never eaten by jaguars or wolves during an eclipse and was never important for regicide. We know how eclipses work, why they work, and we can make predictions accurately predicting when they will occur and where we'll have the best viewing. Just as we can predict comets and meteor showers, my favorites are probably the Perseids. I generally check them out every year. I like the Perseids because, it's a decent sized shower, as meteor showers go. It's a decent size, but the thing is, it's in the middle of the summer, so it's nice out. And I'm not freezing my ass off like I am during the Geminids to try and see them. I still go out there in December to see the Geminids, but I'm bitching about it the whole time because I can't stand being cold. All right, so I'm getting sidetracked all over the place here. Just sue me. The point is that supernatural events and supernatural beings and supernature itself is really a misnomer. At best, it's just things that we don't know anything about yet. Things that we're ignorant about. I hope I need not point out that ignorance cannot be appealed to save a particular claim from being falsified or be used as a jump-off point to start an argument and to keep being honest. Arguments from ignorance, they don't work. To propose a supernature out there somewhere, to me, is like going through the looking glass to Wonderland. Sure, it can be entertaining and it can be fun and all of that. But it's no basis on which to base a belief system. And it certainly isn't worth imposing that belief system on other people who do not share it. And this is another reason why Holy Scripture must be rejected, because it presents supernature and the supernatural as fact. Now, for me to say that Scripture is worthless is sure to invoke the ire and condemnation of the fundamentalists and Bible thumpers everywhere. You know who they are. The usual suspects. So as a preemptive strike to all the pearl-clutching, Bible-thumping, sideways phone recording, sitting in their car hate-mongers, like this guy, or this neo-Maxim Zoom dweeby, or this representative of the substandard genetic slush pile. So to them, and all those that would argue like them, from those positions, I will defer to my favorite supernatural entity of all time, the noted philosopher and poet, the lead Cenobite, the Black Pope of Hell, Pinhead.
Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
Well, do I? So, to you Christians out there, when you appeal to the supernatural, it doesn't do you any favors. Okay? it just makes you look unhinged. It's just a fancy way of saying we just don't know. These are things we just don't know. But believing that they're real, you call that faith. And that is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. And I hope that through this, that can demonstrate how we see it, which is pretending to know shit you don't know. And that ain't no virtue. That's talking out your ass. And that's part of the reason why I have such a hard time taking you seriously. But before we go, I wanted to go back to the eclipses for a moment, if I may. And of course I may, because it's my fucking channel, right? Who's going to stop me? So on the eclipses, specifically the lunar eclipses, I wanted to relate a story that I came across while looking at different eclipse myths, see if I could come up with a new one. And this one stood out to me. And given recent events, I would like to just relay it here. Now, this comes from I have it written down here, Batamalbia people, and they are in Tongo, Africa. The Batamalbia people believe that the lunar eclipse was a fight, a conflict between the moon and the sun. And they would hold like rituals and plead for the fighting between these two entities, these two heavenly bodies that they knew the best, to stop fighting, and to stop arguing, and to stop the conflict. And they would use lunar eclipses to come together as a community and settle their own arguments, bury the hatchets, make amends, resolve old feuds and anger, thereby modeling the behavior that they wanted to see in the heavens. That's all we got for this time. Thank you so much for sticking around. And hi to all the new subscribers from last time. We have 91. We're creeping up on that 100. Pretty exciting for me. Anyways, we'll see you next time. You know where to find us. We're over on Twitter at BCHVids. We're always right here. Drop us a DM. Send us a tweet. We'll see you around. Take it easy.